Han Meditations.
Hey guys, as you can see, I have all these journals. The link will be in the description. So go ahead and check this out, and it'll be in Amazon. Go ahead and get the book if you want to support the channel. Thank you guys for watching.
Do you believe in like Jesus is God? Do you believe in that? Do you believe in the teachings or?
He does.
Not anymore, no.
Not anymore.
Oh no, him not anymore.
So what is your belief now? Do you believe in a higher power, creator?
Say again?
Do you believe in a higher power, creator? Something that created the world?
No, right now I'm more like an atheist.
An atheist?
Yes.
So can you explain the existence of, or do you think about that question? How do we explain the existence of everything? Where do reality come from?
No, I don't have an answer to that.
Okay. But do you think there is an answer? Like I could not have an answer for something, but still there is an answer. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So we would say, for example, that you cannot have something coming from nothing.
Say again?
You cannot have something coming from nothing.
No.
Right? So for example, 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0. Right? It doesn't matter how many zeros you add, nothingness will never amount to something.
Yeah.
Right? So we say as Muslims, is if you cannot have something from nothing, this universe around us here has a starting point, and there was no humans at that time. Right? There was, according to science, there was matter and energy, and matter and energy is not a conscious being, that it has agencies that acts. Therefore, it requires an external thing to bring it into existence. Right? So the question is, what attributes would you need to create a universe? Like if I told you let's create a universe, like what attributes do we need to make a universe like the one that we're living in?
Yeah, but you're getting to the question of the creator eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's.
No, I'm just asking, like.
No,
if,
but like the question is leading there. So if there is no, if the matter doesn't have agency, then there must be a creator who manipulated it somehow into making it what it is, and therefore it's a creator.
No, if the matter doesn't have agency, then it would require an external factor to bring it into existence.
Yeah.
All right. And then looking at the universe itself, we look at what necessary attributes does it show. For example, and I know you're getting what I'm saying, right? Like you look at this bike, for example. Say it requires certain things. It requires plastic, it requires metal. Require knowledge of language to create it, a level of intelligence, assembly of material. Okay, these are attributes to bring something into existence. I'm saying we can apply the same reasoning to the universe because the universe cannot exist otherwise. By necessity, you need to have these things in order for you to bring the universe into existence, right? So without calling it God, because some people are not comfortable calling it God, whatever you want to call it, right? The name does not matter. I'm saying, what necessary attributes do you require to bring a universe into existence is the question.
Right. I'm not gonna name the attributes. I think there's a lot of
some.
No, but
oh, okay, you can tell me what you want to say. Of course,
for me, it's a matter of. I think there are much more qualified people to get into this topic.
All right, okay.
However,
all right.
other than me. I mean.
No, it's all right. Of course, I respect that. Well, I think I'll tell you something.
However, my point being that for me to make the judgment that because I don't have the answer to something, that I must believe in a certain religion and by extension a certain God is such a massive jump. Because even if I were to say that there may be a creator, let's say that we can all be agnostic or even believing in a creator, but not a particular religion, because what is to say that all the other religions are false, which is an argument that has been presented numerous times by Richard Dawkins and the like. So for me to say, because the variables that we see in the universe lead us to believe that there may be a creator because of the way that these variables are acting, then therefore we must believe in a certain God and a certain religion is such a massive jump that that's just not something that I can do, and it's not something that I've ever been able to subscribe to. So that's my issue with
And
that.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
But are you familiar with logical fallacies?
Yes.
Do you know what a straw man is?
Yes.
What is a straw man, if you can tell me?
It's an argument that doesn't necessarily hold up. Like you're using an argument not in a. It's kind of like an empty argument, if you will.
No, a straw man is where you create an argument that the opposite position does not believe in.
Yeah, and then you kind of like try to pass it off as their own. It's like an empty argument.
And attack it, right? So in this case, I would say what you're saying is a straw man, right? And why is it a straw man? Because at no point in our talk, which was very brief,
I'm not
did I say
to pass it off as your own. I'm just saying for me, like that. I'm not trying to pass that argument as your argument. I'm just saying for me, going from that to the idea of believing.
And I totally agree.
Religion, it's very hard for me to.
And I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's why this was never my position, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't come and say, guys, you know what? There was matter, so let's believe in Islam. I never said that, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you that what you just presented is not rational because we need to take steps and we need to have logical reasoning and evidences and arguments in order for us to reach a conclusion.
Yeah.
So I'm completely there, by the way. And Richard Dawkins, I would say, is not a good example of presenting anything at all. I'll just say that
No,
humbly.
I'm just saying he's used that.
Yeah, but he says that. He says that, yes, all the time. So, what I would say is this: I was starting with you a step by step for a reason.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, we can take a natural progression. That's why I said it's not God, because I'm proving it at every step of the way. Is essentially what I was doing. So I was saying first, there has to be necessary attributes that we have in order for us to bring that matter of the universe into existence. And when we look at these attributes and then identify them, okay, we say there's something that is eternal, meaning existence before the universe, not bound by time and space, because the universe has time and space. Has a level of knowledge because there's a set of rules in the universe. There's gravitational laws, etc. Has power because energy, every atom of the universe, if you split it, you have a nuclear explosion from the amount of energy compressed, and the whole universe is energy. So imagine how much energy you need, right? So you would say, if you look at these attributes, and brought the universe into existence. So something that brought the universe into existence has a massive amount of energy we cannot comprehend, intelligence, and not bound by time and space, eternal existing, or not bound by the physical time and space that we are in. Just to be specific, the time space continues that we are in, not the same way we are. Then what do people refer to that as?
Higher being, a higher
Excellent.
power.
So do we agree so far on the higher power? And then we can move to the next step, right? So that's how it's going to do, right? So I'm never going to say something, okay, now you're a Muslim, let's go.
No,
Of course, right? So we start with that. And after identifying the existence of that higher power, we say, okay, throughout history, there was what we call prophets and messengers. There were men that walked among this earth, walking to mankind, saying that there is a higher power. Same thing that we're saying. But they said, okay, we're sent by the higher power. And then they brought revelation. Now, there was people in the past. So you could say to me, I could not see quote unquote miracles that they've performed. So why should I believe in something I've not seen? I'd say to you, okay, very good question. Thank you very much for that position, right? And then I would say, we can show certain things as Muslims today, and we can use these things to come to the conclusion that Islam is true, because Islam presents evidences today that shows that it's from God. For example, I'll ask a question. Can human beings, at any point in history, including today, determine the future in an accurate way every time?
No.
It's impossible. Do you agree? Okay. We would say, looking at Prophet Muhammed, he existed 1,400 years from now, in the past. Now, he made a multitude of different prophecies about the future. Now, these are not one or two, they're tens. Specific. Many of them are time bound. So exact time that this will happen. Specific people bound, etc. Specific action bound. Not a single one. Sorry.
Our friends are waiting.
Okay. So okay, we'll finish here. We'll finish very quickly. All of them have took place the exact way the Prophet said they will. Now the question is, and he said it's not from me. He said, I do not know the future, only God knows the future. The question is, if this is the case, and you can do your own research when you go, if this is the case, then would you then accept that, okay, that makes sense to say that this evidence that this is just one. But this is evidence that this person is able to do things we're not able to do as human beings in this case. And that supports the idea that it's sent by that higher power, because that higher power is not bound by time the way we are. It can know the future and the past because it created everything, and it's outside this universe that we're in.
Okay, I'm just gonna answer this my own way.
Go ahead, of course. No problem.
For me,
Yes.
there are unanswered questions in the world that I do ponder on a daily basis. It's definitely true.
Okay.
And I do believe that there may or may not be a higher power of some sort. But the idea that a prophet a couple thousand years ago, because I do come from Iran, so I am quite familiar with the religious functions, right?
Okay.
I have a very hard time believing, subscribing, having come from that culture, having lived through that, believing and subscribing to some of the what I perceive as stories. Now, please don't take offense to this.
Look, for me, you can say anything. I'll just be the same person.
I believe to be stories that have been written down thousands of years ago, and I'm now supposed to rely on those stories in order to determine a belief system, and then that determines my behavior in the future. I don't believe in that. I believe that there may be a higher power, but I don't think that higher power would require me to speak in a certain language or do a certain set of prayers or rituals on a daily basis for that higher power, or that he would exclude certain people because they were born in India and they believe in Buddhism.
You don't believe in that?
Non-believers.
Okay.
Or what you would call kafir. Well, I'm sorry, I don't have the Arabic.
No, you're doing perfect. Actually, it's great. You're doing well.
Just because they were born into a different religion, and so therefore they may be sinners. I don't believe in that, and I don't think I could ever subscribe to it. So yes, of course, there may be a higher power, but I could never make the leap to believing that just because there was a prophet who may or may not have done those things,
Okay.
Predicted the future.
Yes.
Because I never got very far in my religious studies because I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't get down with it.
No problem.
But he may or may not have done it, but
Sure.
it's not necessarily something that I could get down with saying that's the truth.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, excellent. I'll just very quickly say a response to that. Very quick. First, we say as Muslims that we don't say thousands of years ago because Prophet Muhammad was specifically 1,400 years ago.
Yes.
But it's a valid critique to say I was not there. But we say we have manuscripts that are scientifically carbon dated to the time of the Prophet, first century, second century, etc. So we have actual physical copies of what the Prophet said or how he lived. Quran is preserved just in the minds and the hearts of the people. So you don't need the physical Prophet himself because the content and information and the message has been preserved meticulously more than any other faith in existence, right? So no one is essentially saying just believe they existed. All we're saying is that this content information is preserved. We're saying the logic checks out, the one that I've presented, which is that you need necessary attributes in order for you to bring something into existence. Just basic logic, right? For me to say, I don't know, maybe it's true or not, I'll say this basic logic. For someone to say you cannot create something without the necessary attributes to create it. So all we're saying is like, here's the reasoning. Evidences are there. You can ask me for manuscripts. I can give you the names of the manuscripts if you like, right? Birmingham manuscript, top copy manuscript, Sana'a manuscript, which is 15,000 copies, right? Go to 950 different Qurans, right? And they're investigated by non-Muslim scholars, right? And I can give you the names, the books they wrote. They tell you this is the same exact information. You have no reason to say this is not Muslims, right? So when we say the Prophet said X, we actually have physical evidence as well as memorized evidence showing that these statements were made at that time. And we can see them happening today. So we're saying, using the reasoning that we agreed upon, that humans cannot know the future, this should be an evidence to accept that this person is a messenger. But that's one example, by the way. There's many evidences, but you guys don't have time. I'll be happy to show you many, many more evidences. You'll be surprised, right? So just do your own research, and the Quran is there if you like to take. If not, it's up to you as well. It's your guys' decision. It's a pleasure.
No, that's all right. Thank you.
It's okay. It's up to you. So, and I thank you very much for giving me your time. And I appreciate, I know I kept you for a longer time. So on my behalf, please, if you could apologize to them for keeping you. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice talking to you. See you.
I love watching videos like that because you really just see the explanation that people tell themselves, because a lot of people think that they think a certain way for a reason, but they don't really go through and truly explain and dive deep into why they're thinking a certain way or what the thoughts that they truly have are. Like whenever he was talking about the existence of the universe and how it's created, people are so scared of the word God. They're so scared of a higher power. They're so scared of it that they will do anything. They will run circles around themselves just to try and prove that it doesn't exist whenever it has to exist because you exist. And the same logic that he uses to say that God exists is the same logic that I use whenever I say that we are all a part of God. We are not gods. We are not God himself. But in my belief, we are all a part of God because, like he said, there could only be God. So we had to have come from God because God created everything. So if there was only God before anything was created, then anything else that gets created has to be God as well because it comes from God. So if there's only my body and then I peel off a piece of my skin and that becomes a planet or whatever, then that's a part of me. That's not me, but it's a part of me. So that's what my belief is. My personal belief is. It doesn't have to line up with what everybody else thinks, but that is what I personally believe myself. And it's just so interesting to hear his perspective. And that guy that was right there, he did not want to be there at the end of the conversation. He was just over with it. He said he's an atheist. He turned his brain off and his mind off. And that's someone that's just, in my opinion, not very intelligent because they don't like to think too much. They just like to say, man, you never know what's going on in his life that day. But you could just tell he just wasn't trying to think at all. So it's just so interesting. And even whenever he said, what attributes do you need to bring a universe into existence? Like she didn't want to answer it because you have to admit, hey, you'd have to be God. So.
Yeah, I mean, when she said that, I never went too deep into my religious studies, that told me right there. Like, honestly, I think that if she said, I've actually studied religion extensively and it would have gave her a better argument for her point. Because to me, that's basically saying, I looked slightly into this and immediately I already have this you could just tell she had a preconceived notion, probably just believes that religion is bad, mind controlling, etc. across the board. Looked into it a little bit, basically automatically said, oh, these are made up stories. Yep, this goes along with what I believe. No need to look into it more. And it was especially confirmed when he said, oh, do you want a free copy of the Quran? And she said, no, thank you. You know what I mean? She's like, no, I'm not even going to bother. I know I'll never even take a glance at it. So why would I bother taking it? You know, like a free copy. Like, why not just take it? And I mean, because she even said that's something she contemplates often about the meaning of life, etc. And so I think that goes to show, like, us humans, we're a different breed. Like, I don't think the birds and the bees and the deers are going around and thinking, I wonder why we're here, you know, and looking at the awe of creation and nature and being, wow, look at how beautiful it is that the sun rises and sets every day, and it's the perfect temperature, and the trees just grow and the food just grows. And the other animals don't think about this, but I think you'll find across the board, us humans, even if we're not quite so introspective, no matter who, that crosses our mind. Like, what is our purpose? Why are we here? And I think there is a purpose for us wondering why we have a purpose here. And it's because we have a purpose and we're here to get back to that. And just that being born with that curiosity, we might forget it all being born here, but being born with that curiosity, it's going to help us lead us to where we need to go, which is remembering that we are from God. God did create it all. And yeah, great job again with these interviews. I'm always just soaked in because it's just really interesting to watch these debates or whatever you want to call them. But I love them. They're so interesting.
Yeah, it really is, guys. And we're going to keep watching more. So thank you guys for being here. We love you guys so much. We love learning with you all. And we're just so grateful, guys. Thank you guys for donating. We have to tell you guys that, because even if it's $1, 1 cent, 1 penny, $100, it doesn't matter. $1,000. We haven't gotten a donation that big, but I'm just saying, whatever it is, it just means so much to us because we truly love you guys and we love this experience and we see every single one. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next video.